I don't want to discourage. These are both very long lines. We've only got about 10 minutes left, so it's probably 3 or 4 or 5 questions. Those at the end of the line, I don't want to enhance your frustration, but it's very unlikely. So, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to invite you to iftar or sari if you're up for it. But I'd like to say that my dad was Joint Secretary for Ministry of Labor in your administration, and ironically, I was there when you took over, and I was there last year when you resigned as well. I went back to Pakistan after 8 years, and I saw huge differences. And one thing that I saw...
Differences to the better or worse?
I'm addressing that.
Okay.
In the 8 years that I was here, I wanted to go back and I wanted to serve the country. I wanted to live there and all that. When I went back into Islamabad, that's where I went to school, that's where I grew up, I saw so much extremism, so much frustration. I talked to sitting ministers. I talked to my age group, my friends. I went to the villages. I talked to everyone in my village. Anyone I picked up, even from the media, I asked him one question. I was like, would you recommend me moving back to Pakistan and establishing a life here? Everyone said, if you have a chance, don't come back.
When did this happen?
This is last August. At the time you were, putting in your resignation.
Okay.
And, which is really ironic. I was really, really sad. And I realized, I was there for a month, I realized that there are so many social problems over there that everyone since 1947 has ignored. And you skipped a lot of the social problems, but I would like you to comment on the social issues, ethics, for example. I hate to admit it, but as Pakistanis in the school system, we have no ethics. The education system, it's based on whoever gets more marks, and it's ridiculous. That's something that's the basis of a country. In the United States, you go to Massachusetts, where I believe your son went to school as well. I'm not sure, but that's what the word is. But you go to Stanford and you go to MIT. This is where most of this country's scholars came from, where academia came from. Schools and institutions is where people discuss politics, health, and everything. And this is how discussions happen. We're having this discussion in a school, but you never stress this. You created the Higher Education Commission, which I agree with. It's a great institution, but somewhere along the line, in the last 8 years, people went from being passionate about Pakistan to going where they're so fed up, they want to just be like, okay, we can be a colony of America and just let it be so that we can have a safe environment, and there's no safety.
Okay. Well, I think the basic, when you're talking of ethics, this is certainly a long-term strategy. I think the basic or the core issue that needs to be addressed for the progress of the people or the development of the people is economy. First of all, feed the people at least. We are talking of ethics. The man is hungry, he doesn't have water, he doesn't have food, and we are talking of ethics and telling him, teaching character to him. So first of all, the basic requirement is economic well-being of the country, which should transmit down, permeate down to the people in the form of education, in the form of health facilities, in the form of job creation and poverty alleviation. Now what we were doing, I can give a lecture, separate lecture. When we are standing here in the United States, I was demanding, I always used to say, give us trade, not aid. Because trade encourages opening of factories, increases exports, therefore rise in our economy, opening of factories, therefore more jobs, therefore poverty alleviation. So therefore I was demanding free trade agreement with the United States, more market access with the European Union and United States. In fact, I went to the extent of telling the Secretary General of United Nations and the Secretary General of the European Union that they have a policy that if a country is beyond a certain level of development, the quotas and the additional tariff facilities that they give are denied to a country which is at a certain level of development. And since we reached that development, we were denied all that. So I used to tell them that this is a very lopsided policy where you are punishing good performance. If we have performed well, you must reward me with more quota and more trade agreements. So we were trying all this to improve the lot of the people. When you are talking of ethics and the character, yes, indeed, there is in a poor society, in a society where there is poverty and illiteracy, really concentrating on ethics, yes, indeed, one can concentrate in the form of in the education, in your syllabus and in your curriculum, etc. But that is a long-term effort which a country has to go through. There is no short answers to such an issue, but one shouldn't get discouraged. To you who has got a little dismayed maybe, let me tell you that when I came in 99 and in 2000, if anyone asked me what is Pakistan, whether it is viable as a country, a progressive country, I may not have said what I will say now. With 8 years of experience, I saw that Pakistan has the potential, Pakistan has the resources, Pakistan has the mental acumen, because I think we people are, whoever is educated is intelligent as a race. So therefore Pakistan is very much capable of sustaining itself and progressing and developing rapidly. It's a failure of leadership. So what you have seen, if you were happy over the last 8 years of what I did, and suddenly you see this change, it is a lack of faith in the governance or a failure of leadership. So don't blame the country. The country is good. The country will survive. It has potential.
We have time for two more, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum, President Pervez Musharraf. First of all, I would like to thank you for the progress you had made for Pakistan during your 8 years. We were sitting here and watching, and we had not seen that before you, and we do not see after you. So thank you for what you had done for the country.
Thank you.
Now I have a little complaint and then a question. A complaint is that you've come all the way here, and we have a Pakistani community that wanted to meet with you. We were not given a chance. So we felt very bad. We were shortcut, and whosever policy that was, please, next time when you come, make sure that you meet with us. The question is that about the nuclear armament. On one hand, United States supports the nuclear armament of India and even helps them to develop more. On the other hand, they do not want Pakistan to go any further. In fact, they want us to finish it up. India also has extremism and fundamentalism growing there as well. As you mentioned, the Gujarat riots, 3,000 Muslims were killed because of that extremism. So I would like you to shed some light on that. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for, first of all, I'm very sorry if I've hurt the Pakistani community here. I'm a great patriot and I would love to meet Pakistanis everywhere. But let me tell you my commitments here in the next 35 days. I've got 16 lectures and I'm going to travel to 18 different places in 35 days. My last seminar is I'm co-chairing with Mr. Henry Kissinger in Boston. Now, the issue is, and I'm going to, other than these 16 lectures, I am going to speak to Pakistani diaspora, I think in 5 places. Unfortunately, this place didn't feature in those 5, but I can assure you that the next time I would love to come here and interact with the Pakistani people. But I am interacting with them where they are in large numbers. I believe they are in large numbers here also. So my apologies to the Pakistani community, and I would love to meet you all.